Is this sweet? I can't tell.
Yo! Trivium put out a new album. Silence in the snow.
That was actually surprisingly really good. Good job.
I sound like Matt Heafy. It's their 7th album on Roadrunner Records. It's their first album since Vengeance Falls from 2 years ago, which is crazy to think that that was 2 years ago. It feels like yesterday. I still remember the day In Waves came out, how excited I was. The fuck's wrong with time? Anyways, yeah, we reviewed their title track. They put out Blind Leading the Blind Until the World Goes Cold before this album came out. And, yeah, it's an album. It's music.
Yes, it is in fact an album, and it is in fact music. Just in case anybody was wondering.
What do you think of this album, sir?
Alright, I want to get this off my chest right off the bat. I really want to like this album. I want to like this album a lot. On paper, like after like they put out, you know, the first 3 songs, like or the 3 songs they put out, this should have been my favorite album of the year, if not like my favorite album of the last couple years. This should have been like my perfect album. But sadly, it's not. Like this album is a solid okay. I mean, the best songs on the album are Silence in the Snow, Blind Leading the Blind, and, you know, When the World Goes Cold. Like, that's, like, those are the best songs. Everything else, it's moments where this album's good. Like, Cease All Your Fires, a good song, but, again, that's, like, a bonus track. It's not on the album, so, which sucks, because, like, I like the intro and the opening riff, and then I like the breakdown in the middle. The chorus is alright, but I'll get back onto like normal stuff. Probably the biggest thing about this album is Matt Heafy's vocals, which I do like his vocals on the album. There's just a couple spots where it's weird. Like, alright, so here's where they were. Vengeance Falls. That's pretty good. I mean, imagine this is pretty good. Here's where he is now. And here's where he's trying to sing. Like, that's, like, the problem, is that at like, certain spots, he's, like, the spot where I notice it is in the chorus to Rise Above the Tides. When he goes, Rise, that last note he hits, I cringe when I hear it. It's just, like, because he kind of slides between 2 notes, and it's, like, ew. It just doesn't sound right. Like, he's... Yes, he has improved as a vocalist, and it works for much of the album, but there's just times where it doesn't work. And I mean, yeah, and like I said, the album's okay, you know, Pull Me From the Void's okay. I personally don't mind Rise Above the Tides. I think it's an okay song. Like, again, I mean, you never, besides the 3 songs they released, you're never going to hear me say, this is a great song. I'm sorry, that's just not, if you're, spoiler alert for the rest of my portion of this review, those words aren't going to come out of my mouth. But, like, The Ghost That's Haunting You is, like, I don't like the vocals on that song. Beneath the Sun's okay. The thing that's killing me makes me laugh sometimes when I hear it. But, like, again, there's moments. Like, Breathe in the Flames, the chorus of that song is pretty okay. And like I said, Rise Above the Tides, I don't mind. Again, Cease All Your Fire, but it's not on the album. There's like the opening riff to I think it is The Thing That's Killing Me is okay. Like, or like the first riff that comes in after the intro. Like, it's okay. Like, there's a lot of moments on this album, but a good album isn't just good moments. It has to be good songs, and there's not enough of wholly good songs in this album to make this album great. Like I said, there's great moments. Like, there's times where things shine through, but then, like, I don't know. For one thing, the production doesn't hit you like normal Trivium albums, I feel, don't, you know. Trivium's had loud albums. Their albums are loud, and this album doesn't seem as loud. You know, we commented on that, and we reviewed the title track, like, and it's kind of the same throughout the whole album. Like, it doesn't punch you as much as normal Trivium albums do, which is something that I've come to expect when listening to Trivium. One of the other things that I thought was really I didn't like is in the chorus to Dead and Gone, or pre-chorus. I think it's the pre-chorus, actually. He borrows the line from Shogun, you know, time won't heal all of your pain. And I'm like, you serious? You had to steal your own line? You couldn't come up with something else? Like, it'd be interesting if like there was something maybe more connecting the songs, but it's just like that one line, and it's like, oh, so it just almost seems lazy, which is sometimes what comes off with this album. It just seems lazy. They're, you know, because like the songwriting, it's, you know, again, Trivium's best songwriting in my opinion is Shogun. That's like the best songwriting they've had ever. But like, and you know, normally I do say that I look at energy a lot more in terms of how does an album make you feel. You know, does this album feel good when you listen to it? And even though this album does have a lot of energy to it, even though it has some energy, it just doesn't feel right. Even with, like, again, normally I don't look at how complicated a way that a song is written. It just doesn't feel right. You know, I think maybe because, you know, Trivium, all of Trivium's albums are different. You know, they each have something about them that makes them a little more unique. And I think that, you know, instead of, you know, their next album, they should maybe do like almost like a retrospective kind of thing. Like, kind of be like, hey, let's look at, you know, where we've been throughout our career and try to like write an album that encompasses all of that, you know, like just imagine an album that has the songwriting of like Shogun, but it has like these vocals but better on it, and like, and even like the catchiness of In Waves and, you know, Vengeance Falls. Like, just imagine that, because they've proven they can do it, just not all at the same time. Now they just need to do it all at the same time, and that would literally be probably one of my favorite albums of the last 10 years if that album ever came out. Instead, we got this, and this album is a solid okay in my book. So yeah.
God damn it. You know, I really want to like this album too, and, you know, I feel, trying to think how to put it. I feel that Trivium fans really hold Trivium to a high standard, simply because, you know, every album they've put out has been pretty fucking good. I mean, I thought Vengeance Falls was a great album, but it wasn't their best for sure. In Waves, same thing. I'm a Shogun fan. You know, I'm an Ascendancy fan, and fuck, even The Crusade is a great album. But I can kind of, and I don't like to say it. I don't want to say it, but this is like the first Trivium album where I go, I don't want to listen to this album that much. You know, I want to listen to a couple songs off of here, but as a whole, I don't want to listen to it, and that sucks. The 3 songs they put out before this album are by far the best songs on here, in my opinion. Blind Leading the Blind is probably one of the best songs Trivium has ever written, in my opinion. I mean, that song fucking jams. That chorus is awesome. That main riff punches you straight in the balls, and I love it. And, you know, I thought Silence in the Snow was a good song, and after those first 2 songs, you're like, this album is going to kick my ass, and it's going to be great. And then Dead and Gone starts, and then Matt Heafy's vocals come in, and you're like, what in the fuck is going on? Like, they're so sporadic, they're so awkward. It's like you could have thought of something better to put here for this verse than this, in my opinion. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, then my hopes for the album after that were dead and fucking gone. I was like, alright, this might not be as good as I thought it was going to be. And it just feels like, I feel like there's a lack of really awesome riffs on here all the time. Like, it just feels like certain songs, like just the riffs don't capture me like almost every other Trivium song has in the past, and that sucks. And the production doesn't really help it either. I mean, when they're doing, more breakdown-like parts or just a really heavy riff, I feel like, the palm mutes, they just don't sound as thick. They don't have as, big of a sound to them. They just kind of fade away really quick. And I don't... It just sounds a little bit weak, and that kind of sucks too. And look, I get it. Trivium, when you really look at every album from Trivium, every album is different. And that's cool because you never know what you're gonna get with a Trivium album. But they tried some new things on here, and I appreciate them for that. But they don't fucking work. A lot of people are criticizing this album because there's no screen vocals, and I could honestly care less if there's any screen vocals because Matt Heafy's vocals are phenomenal for the most part on here. There's some notes on here that are just really weird, like Keith was saying, and some, vocal patterns that just don't really work. But, this is the best he's ever sounded. It doesn't matter if they're screen vocals or not. Would I like screen vocals? Sure, it adds variety to it, and that's cool. But, I listen to The Crusade's one of their best albums, and that has barely any screen vocals, and it doesn't fucking matter. As long as the vocals are good and the songwriting's good, you're not going to complain about the lack of screams. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's just a stupid argument, in my opinion. But the soloing on this, the guitar solos on this album, are the best guitar solos that this band has done for a long time, in my opinion. Probably since Shogun, in my opinion. I mean, they've had some good solos, but none of them have really stood out to me like this. Like, Corey Bellahue and Matt Heafy are just two of the best guitarists in metal, and this, really proves it with their solos on here. It's like every song has a really shreddy, fucking good solo, and they're lengthy and they're well written. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I'm glad they kind of brought that back in. I just feel like, Trivium has kind of been dipping their fucking feet in the more mainstream rock radio sound since In Waves, and that's fine. I just don't want them to go like All That Remains territory. That's not a good place to be. Or Bullet for My Valentine, Temper territory. That's not a good place to be either. I just hope that they don't go that way. And I don't think they will, because they're too creative. So I don't think they would dumb themselves down just to appeal to something. But this is the closest that they've been. And look, not every song on here is bad. I like Beneath the Sun, and the 3 songs they put out before are pretty alright. One other songs are alright. Seesaw Your Fire, which is a bonus track, that's a pretty cool song too. Pull Me From the Void, that's another one that kind of stood out to me. I think it's the last song, Breathe in the Flames. That song had such an identity crisis to me, because all the riffs are like completely different fucking styles, and then you get to the solo, and the solo has like this rhythm, nice rhythm behind it, and then all of a sudden it goes down, 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 and it's like, what? Where the fuck did this come from? That's something that we would do at our band practice and just dick off. It just felt so disjointed. Then they go back to the riff and it's just like down, 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 and I'm like, maybe that could have worked like at a different part of the song, but I don't know. It was just weird to me. I just thought that song, had it like it didn't know what it wanted to be, but. Yeah, Matt Heafy's vocals, like I said, this is the best he's probably ever sounded. He still has that David Draymond influence from the last album on here, and that's fine or whatever. But I feel like every chorus he hits the same exact pitches, like every chorus. The ghost that's haunting you sounds exactly like fucking the thing that's killing me. Dead and Gone hits the same fucking pitches as Rise Above the Tides, and I'm like, it's cool. You really expanded your sound. You got better as a vocalist. Yet I just feel when it comes to the chorus, they kind of just put themselves in a box most of the time. Yeah, and I just don't want Trivium to write themselves into a box. And, you know, I agree with Keith. If they did something like a Shogun with what Matt Heafy can do now, it'll be the most mind-blowing fucking thing ever, in my opinion. I mean, I thought he sounded damn good on Shogun, but he sounds better now. And, you know, I still like Trivium a lot, but I don't know. This album is a huge disappointment to me. I just feel it lacks a little bit of balls. It has some energy to it. It has energy mostly throughout. But I just feel like it lacks some nuts. Some big fat fucking nuts that their past albums have given. And I've seen people saying that Vengeance Falls wasn't good. And, you know, I can see Vengeance Falls not being for you if, you know, you're a huge Shogun fan or, you know, or Ascendancy or whatever. I thought it was a good album, but to say that Vengeance Falls is worse than this album is, like, beyond me. Like, I can't even fucking fathom that. But that's just me. Like, I listened to half of Vengeance Falls again before we did this review earlier this morning. I was like, this shit just fucking jams. And it's loud and it punches you in the fucking nuts most of the time. But, I don't know. It's not a bad album. It's not the worst album I've heard. It's just a huge disappointment because I want Trivium to be here. I don't know. It's whatever. Just listen to Blind Leading the Blind over and over again. That's all you need to really. That's really all you need to listen to. But the title track's good too. There's some good songs. I really want to like this song too. This album. Sorry. But, yeah. Got any more thoughts?
I plan on giving this album a couple more listens too, because I've learned from the past with other albums like
Your Mom.
When the Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. That's an example that this album might be a grower, not a shower. That, you know, it could be an album that just kind of slowly grows on me over time. Because, like, I mean, again, like I said, I genuinely want to like the album. So I said maybe, you know, after the initial shock of, you know, what the fuck is this wears off, that maybe, like I said, maybe it'll grow on me a little bit. Maybe. I still, like I said, I still stand by that it's an okay album. Like, it's not the worst thing I've heard, but it's definitely not the best thing I've heard, especially from Trivium. It's probably well, no, it's not probably. It is the worst thing I've heard from Trivium, but that's still, you know, that's still pretty good compared to some of the other piles of shit I've listened to over the years. So, like I said, I plan on listening to it for a little bit, and then maybe, hopefully, by the end of the year, developing like a final opinion of it. So, fuck. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Like I said, okay. It's not the worst thing I've heard, not the best thing I've heard. 7.
7 out of 10 for me as well. I feel like this might be a little bit of a divisive album. That some people are really going to dig it, and some will probably be in how we feel about it. Some will completely hate it. I don't know. Who knows? Let's just, you know, hopefully Trivium does some really rad stuff next. It's always exciting when Trivium has a new album on the horizon, because you're always like, I don't know what it's going to sound like. You never know what you're going to get. 7 out of 10 for me. Let us know what you think of Silence in the Snow by Trivium. It's an album. See you later.